guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Kahila or Kay, and oh my gosh, first of all, I'm trying to get used to my new camera. What is that called? Viewfinder is up here, but the actual camera is right here. So I'm looking at myself up here, but I need to practice looking right here. Okay? Also, if you hear something in the background, it's a fan, or you might hear some of my siblings in the background because they can be loud at times when I'm filming. That's okay. Alright? Anyway, oh my gosh, you guys, it's the end of August. This is actually insane. And also I'm sitting on the floor because I want to be comfortable, because this is a nice, comfortable video. So yeah, it's the end of August, which is actually insane. Next month is September, which is my birthday month. And it's gonna be so much fun. Oh my gosh, if you guys don't know or haven't seen my podcast episode where I announced it, I am going on a trip to Sweden with my sisters next month, so we're going to have a great time. But yeah, I was supposed to film this video, or a video like this, I think like halfway through the year, probably in July or something like that, but then I don't know, time just flew by, honestly. Yeah, if I'm being honest, time flew by. So I've been wanting to film this video because I love to reminisce. I love to go back and be like, oh my gosh, I did this with like anything in life, but especially my knits, because it's a year-long journey. Finally, it's been a year that I've been on this knitting journey, and it's just like, I really did that. Like, what? I literally taught myself how to knit, and I've been knitting so much now, and for the end of this month, I was like, you know what? I haven't had like a sit down video, like besides my podcast, but a video that's not a podcast where I just like sit down and talk to you guys about my knits for a long time. Okay, I actually did the knit and chat now that I think about it. Anyway, that was like the first of its kind. Okay, anyway, I've never had a sit down video where I talk about all of my knits that I've knitted so far in the year. So here is the video, everything I have knitted so far in 2022. And I might do another video like this at the end of the year, just to do like everything I've knitted in the year 2022, or it might be a 2023 video. I don't know, it depends on how I'm feeling. And yeah, because taking out all of my knits that I've knitted so far, I was just like, where is this? Where is that? Where did I store it? I'm like, oh my gosh, did I get everything? But luckily, I post everything on my Instagram because it helps me remember like the yarn that I use, the needles, and everything like that, basically the pattern. So I will be on my phone and on Instagram referencing a lot of these projects, because I honestly will not remember from the top of my head everything that I've done with these projects, like the yarn that I use and stuff like that, and the name of the yarns and the weight and stuff. So yeah, I think that is all I have for the intro so far. Is that it? Yeah, so I have a few projects. I didn't even count. I have all my projects around me on the floor right here, but I didn't even count to see how many projects I did, so let's see. Okay, only 16. I don't feel like that is a lot, but you guys let me know if that is a lot to get done. A lot of them are big projects, but most of them, like 9 out of 16, are small projects. So yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Eee! Okay, let's get started. All right, so I'm gonna go in order of when I finished the projects, and hopefully I have it in order. Hopefully I pick it up in order, I believe. Yeah, okay, yeah. So let's go to Instagram, because like I said, that's where I put everything about everything in it. Okay, let's scroll back to January. Oh my gosh, okay. January. Oh, this is so great. Let's start off with the the first project and the first sweater that I finished in January. Let's see, I posted this January 24th. But when did I actually, oh no, okay, I posted the first picture January 12th, okay, so that's when so I probably finished it around like a day or two before that, or actually on that day, depending on how ambitious I was feeling about taking pictures. So this sweater is, dun 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 dun, it was folded a lot, so don't mind it, but this sweater right here, as you can see, I don't weave in my ends, so yeah. Also, if my camera goes in and out of focus a lot, I'm still trying to like tinker with it, so bear with me. Anyway, this sweater right here, also if you guys want to see like finished object pictures of all of these projects, just go to my Instagram, scroll and look through it, but I'm not going to be trying these on or inserting pictures, honestly, because editing me will probably not feel like doing that. But if editing me does feel like doing that, you guys will see pictures, but if she does not, you will not see pictures. So let's try to see if I can hold it up the best I can. This sweater right here, so this is the seamless mock neck sweater by Well Loved Knits, aka Bethany. She has a YouTube channel if you guys want to check her out. I will have all the patterns, all the yarn, and all of the people, if they have channels, down below for you guys, so you can just check them out. But she has a channel, I have a link down below for you guys. She is so awesome. I love her videos. They're just so great. And oh my gosh, and she's having a baby, and she's doing all these baby knits. I'm just like, so cute. Anyway, so yeah, this is the first sweater that I did for the year. It was such a great knit. I remember it being so seamless. Okay, that's not why she named it seamless, but oh my gosh, it was just so easy and so great, so beginner friendly. And it was the first time I did a drop shoulder construction. So as you guys can see right here, this is drop shoulder. So I knitted in the round for the collar, and this is honestly supposed to be folded in like this, something like that, but I decided to leave it up because I love like turtlenecks and just collars that cover my neck like this, because I just love it so much. Okay, I like to be clothed. But yeah, so this is the first time I did drop shoulder construction. So I knitted in the round at first, and then separated for the front and back, and knitted the front and back flat, and then joined in the round, finished the body, boom, and then picked up for the sleeves. So drop shoulder constructions look like this. And oh my gosh, I love this detail right here. I think this is, would this be considered raglan? I don't know, but I liked how I had to create this right here. I don't know how to explain that, but I always, like, throughout the year, I'm like, dude, I need to make another one of these sweaters because I really loved knitting up this sweater. It was so easy, and it was just like the perfect chunky. I think I used, okay, 6mm needles for the ribbing for the neckline, I'm pretty sure, and maybe even for the cuff. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. This was all the way in January. And 8mm for the body. So it was a nice chunky knit. I used Drops Andes, and this was the first sweater where it was like I used a neutral color. And I like neutral as a neutral cream on a cream white spectrum, because I am not a fan of white yarn, cream yarn, anything white and cream that's like completely solid, I was gonna say solidly, is that a word? Pure solid white, cream, beige, any of those colors I stay away from because I love color. I love color. I'm over here looking at yarn that has like a lot of white in it, but it also has like blues and purples in it, so it's good. And this one was like the first solid cream beigey color. I was like, this is actually pretty good. I don't know if I'll ever knit with the cream beige, fully beige cream yarn again, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. Okay, I do have like a beigey sweater quantity of yarn in my stash just because I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. But I don't know if I might add like a brown mohair with it to make it brown or something. But we shall see. I'm not gonna use that yarn for a long time. So anyway, yeah, so I knitted this in a size medium and it fits nice and oversized and it's just so comfy. Drops Andes feels really good. Like it's soft and I was not expecting that. And yeah, I want to do a few more chunky knits this year, at least 2 more, maybe. And this might be one of them. We shall see. Or it might be a January one again. What if oh my gosh, what if I knitted another one in January like I did this year? Because January is still going to be winter. So I might do that. We shall see. But I really do want to knit another one of these, but like in a cool tone color. Because I think Bethany did hers in a brown color. I think she did it in 2 different colors actually. Like she did like 2 sweaters and there are different colors. But I definitely think she did one in brown. No, I don't even want to scroll because I don't know when she posted it. But yeah, I might do it in like a cool tone color. But yeah, this is great. I love this so much. Anything else about it? It was like my first chunky knit of the year as well. Yeah, so seamless mock neck sweater by Well Loved Knits. Definitely beginner friendly, no short rows or anything. And yeah, if you don't like knitting flat, I would suggest doing this pattern because it will help you like knitting flat. And I'll say this about another project too when I get to it, but actually 2 more projects help me like knitting flat. Like I don't hate it anymore. Now it's like okay, if I have to do it, I'll do it. Like knitting a big project flat. If you don't like knitting big projects flat, this construction will help you enjoy it because eventually you go back to the round. And it's so cool seeing like if my tension is the same or not. Because with this, I didn't block this by the way. I didn't want to block a chunky knit. I was like, absolutely not. I'm good. But yeah, I think my tension was relatively the same, honestly. It might have been a little looser knitting flat now that I look at it than in a round. But honestly, you can't even tell. I think it's because it's so chunky, like, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, this is my first knit. This is so great. I love it. Highly recommend it. Alright, the next one that I finished for the year right after that actually. Let's see, when did I post this? January 18th. So it was really close actually. I finished a small knit, which is this beanie right here. This is a 2x2 rib beanie and so pretty. It's made from hand-dyed yarn by Explorer Knits, I'm pretty sure. Yep, Acorn Stash and DK Weight by Explorer Knits. And this brown is so beautiful. I wish I had this in sweater quantity. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. But because I didn't want to spend more money on a sweater quantity, I got one hank and decided to just make something small so I can at least see the yarn worked up. And it is so pretty. This is the Watch Cap by Pearl Soho, and I did an adult small and used 3.5mm needles. And the beanies that I make, I don't ever plan to like wear them because I just honestly, when it comes to projects like socks and beanies and stuff like that, I just create them and make them to just see the yarn worked up. And I don't care if I like never wear them, like wear the projects, because it's art to me and I just want to see the yarn worked up. Like my true love is the yarn that I work with and not necessarily the pattern or Yeah, the pattern, honestly. Not necessarily the pattern, but it's the yarn. I love the yarn. So, yeah. That's why I make beanies and socks for the yarn, not to wear. So, a lot of people be like, what? Like, what's the point then? The point is it's art, and I'm not gonna stop myself from creating art because I'm gonna have too many pieces of this one type of thing. I don't care. I'm using up the yarn. The yarn looks pretty and it's art, and I will keep it because it's art. So yeah, this is a nice small project. I decided along with my big projects that I wanted to have some small projects as well, so like I can have a nice little break in between big projects, or like if I want to put my big project down for a little bit because, you know, it's getting monotonous maybe, but I still want to knit, I'm like, okay, I can pick up this small project, and even though this will be monotonous, a lot of knits are monotonous anyway, unless you're like doing like color work and all the lace work and all of that, but it's monotonous, but it's also smaller and it's a different pattern and different yarn, so I get a different type of satisfaction. So it's okay to move to this for a little bit and then get back to the other project. So that's how I don't lose motivation. If you guys ever wondered how I don't lose motivation at all when knitting, I just move back and forth, and also the yarn gives me satisfaction and the yarn is always there, so I'm always happy. Yeah. I don't know if that made sense, but it makes sense to me. Anyway, I think that's it for this project. This is the only, I usually knit the same project when it comes to like beanies and socks and stuff like that, but I haven't knitted this pattern again because I found a simpler pattern, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. So that was the second project. The next project that I finished was a project that I was working on last year, like the end of last year. I think I started it in November, honestly, but then I just kept on putting it aside and not finishing the other half of it. So these socks right here that, oh my gosh, I wore these socks out, okay? I finished it and now these socks are faded and I washed it and oh my gosh, they have been through a lot, but here they are. These are my first ever pair of socks that I knitted, and I knitted it with Christmas Tree Farm, I'm pretty sure. Yep, Christmas Tree Farm by Teeny Button. This is hand-dyed yarn. Did I tell you guys exploring this yarn was hand-dyed yarn? Pretty sure, but that was hand-dyed yarn as well. But this is hand-dyed yarn, my first ever pair of socks, which, oh my gosh, it was so easy. I am just shocked because when I saw like people knitting socks like Tiara from the Love Stitch and Inga from Knitting Traditions and one more person made me want to start knitting socks. It's probably Tiffany from Typical Bliss on Instagram, Tiffany Lou on YouTube. But when I saw them knitting up socks, I was like, that looks so hard. But then they made it seem so interesting, so I was like, you know what? Kalila started knitting socks, and I saw the way like she was knitting, and it was like tiny and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I am not knitting socks. Are you serious? Disgusting. Ugh. But then I just kept watching her knit socks and watching other people knit socks. I'm like, you know what? That actually looks pretty cool. Like, to say that you can knit socks. So then I was like, you know what? Let me try it. And I tried it. Kalila gave me needles and stuff, and I fell in love, and I'm still knitting socks right now. It's just so great and mindless and tiny and quick, even though it takes me forever to finish socks. But it's a quick project if you're monogamously knitting on it. So yeah, I use hand-dyed yarn. So great. Oh my gosh, I finished this in January? No, I finished this in February. So this is the vanilla socks by Crazy Sock Lady, and I use 9-inch circulars for it. You will not catch me using magic loop on socks unless I am at the toe where I literally have no choice but to use magic loop, and that's fine because I'm at the end and then, you know, not a lot of stitches. But I see people like Natalie from Nitty Natty. Yes, she knits up like a lot of socks. She also made me fall in love with knitting socks. But she knits socks on like using magic loop, and I'm just like, ooh, you're a good one. It could not be me. I don't even want to knit sleeves on sweaters in magic loop. You think I'm knitting socks entirely on magic loop? Absolutely not. Anyway, yeah, I use 2.5mm needles, and I always knit the size like medium because my feet are narrow, even though they're long, so it's like perfect. And yeah, it's great. So, first pair of socks, I had so much fun, and I knitted a bunch more, which I'm very excited to show. Alright, after that, we have this right here. It's called a sweater, but I would honestly call it more of a shirt. Because to me, a sweater is when the sleeves, you know, come here. It's like thick-ish, you know, sweater-ish. If the sleeves stop like to your elbow, I don't call it a sweater, but Petite Knit calls her, oh, what is this called? Oh my god, it was literally just in my head. Novice Sweater Mohair Edition, she calls that a sweater. Even though the sleeves stop at the elbows. I'm pretty sure that's the one. Did I mod it to stop at the elbow, or does it stop at the elbow? I'm pretty sure it stops like close to the elbow. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Anyway, so I had some yarn from Hobie, and it was like fingering weight yarn. I had a lot of it, and I decided, I was like, okay, what can I knit that's like simple and fingering weight only, that like where I can use all of this yarn. And I was going through Petite Knit patterns as usual. I love Petite Knit, and I saw the Novice Sweater Mohair Edition. I was like, that's perfect. Mohair equals fingering, so I can use this fingering weight yarn. So I did, and I knitted up this. Oh my gosh, this is so wrinkled. I'm so sorry. It's okay. It's fine. It was stuffed somewhere. I knitted up this random sweater and just did random stripes. Like, I had no direction to it, and it was just random, like me. And I like random stuff, so it was great. It was so much fun. I used yarn from Hobie. What's it called? Hobie. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it will be linked down below for you guys. It's a fingering weight wool. I knitted up the Novice sweater when I first started knitting, and it was easy. Basically same construction, just thinner. And you guys, so I used 3.5mm needles on this project, I'm pretty sure. And which one is it? Pretty sure it's this one. Okay, so yeah, I used 3.5mm needles. And this sleeve came out, it was perfect, you know, it was fine. I got to this sleeve, and I picked up the stitches and started using 4mm needles. So I don't know if you guys can see, I can definitely see it on this side, but I picked up stitches. Like, you can see this is where like I finished with the yoke and stuff like that, and then when I picked up stitches, I picked it up with 4mm needles. So you can clearly, I don't know if you can clearly see it on camera, but I can clearly see the difference between the 3.5 and a 4. Or is it a 3 and then a 4? I don't know, one of those. But you can clearly see the difference. I'm pretty sure it's a 3.5 and a 4. And it's so insane how literally it's so close but so different at the same time. It's actually crazy. But I didn't care. I wasn't gonna rip that back and change the needles because, like I said, I knit for the art of knitting, especially with my yarn. So it didn't seem that significant to me. Like, it didn't seem like that significant of a mistake. So I just kept it because why not? And then I get to tell you guys a story like this, that I messed up and I just kept going. Because why not? Everything doesn't have to be perfect. I see too many people knitting who stress so much when knitting because they think like their knits have to be perfect. I mean, granted, because they're going to be wearing it, so that, I mean, that's their prerogative. They want it to be perfect. They want it to be perfect. But to me, if you don't want to stress, sorry, hold on, I have to adjust when sitting because my legs can fall asleep. To me, if you don't want to stress when knitting, then don't stress, and however it turns out is however it turns out. You live, you learn, love the yarn, move on. But I understand everybody can't be like that. I'm just a very carefree, I don't care person, so yeah. And I still wear my stuff, mistakes and all, and it's great because it's handmade. Handmade is not going to be perfect at all, which is why I don't gauge swatch, because I don't care to be perfect. Anyway, yeah, so this was a fun project to knit up. But also knitting with one strand of fingering weight yarn when it's not a small project like a sock is like, ooh, it takes forever. And also it's not as fun as knitting with like 2 strands of something to make a fingering weight, or like a fingering weight yarn and a mohair paired together. So it was not as enjoyable, but it was still enjoyable because it was a nice experience. But I don't think I'll knit with just a fingering weight yarn again. I say that and I'm looking around like, did I do that? I don't think I did that. Like for a big project, I will not just knit with like a fingering weight yarn, like 1 strand. I can knit with like 2 strands of mohair to do something, which I haven't done that yet. I need to find a project where I do like a few strands of mohair and knit up a mohair project. We'll see. Anyway, so that's this project. All right, the next one, I have a lot of progress pictures, which I like. Boom! All right. The next project that I finished, okay, when did I finished this sweater, the Novice Slipover, oh my god, the Novice Sweater Mohair Edition. I finished that February 25th. And this next one was finished March 12th. So we are in March now, okay? We went from January, now we're in March. And it was a beanie, okay? You guys saw the other beanie, which was 2x2 rib. This is 1x1 rib, and it is also by Pearl Soho. It's called the Classic Ribbed Hat. And I was like, I want something simpler than the 2x2 rib, something more mindless, because 2x2 I had to think about like 2x2, but with normal ribbing 1x1, all you have to do is just boop, 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 boop. You don't have to think like, oh shoot, I have to have 2, oh shoot, I have to, you know. Anyway, so this is the beanie, and Kalila had some extra wool ease yarn, and it's yarn that's like wool and acrylic, I'm pretty sure, and it's really soft and a really good project for like if you want to knit up gift projects with wool, but like something that you can wash in the washer and dryer and stuff like that. Wool Ease by Lion Brand, really good, super good. So I wanted to try that out to see, because I feel like I'll be doing a lot of gift knitting in the future, and I'm not going to use my good yarn to knit gift projects because most of the people will not know how to properly take care of it, and like I said, my love is yarn, so I will be super sad if something crazy happens to beautiful yarn. So why not give people something that they can actually, you know, wash and stuff like normal clothes. Anyway, so this is made out of Wool Ease, and of course the green. I love green, that's my favorite color, and this shade of green is, oh my god, so pretty. And it's very stretchy, the yarn. Like, this is an adult small, and it looks so tiny, but it stretches. Bing! Is that a hole? Oh no, that's not a hole. That's just part of the decreases. But yeah, look at the decreases. It looks so cool. It's so cute. And yeah, so I used 3.5mm needles, and Pearl Soho Classic Ribbed Hat. Bing! Super easy project, especially like for a beginner. I would say do that if you want a hat that's simple, or just a simple project in general. Just do it. Do that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects that I finished from January to March. And the next one, also in between these knit projects, I was still crocheting. So I have a bunch of crochet projects that I finished in between these as well. So I was getting a lot of projects done throughout the year, especially the beginning of the year. But this is just everything I knitted, so just know that there are a bunch of crochet projects in between these as well. Okay, moving on to the next one. I finished this March 24th. Oh my gosh, I had the time of my life knitting up this sweater. So, this sweater right here. Oh my gosh, would you ever think that this sweater was knitted? No, because you can't even see the stitches. Even when I like try to stretch it out for you to see, like it's so hard. Like I knitted this sweater, you guys. Are you serious? Look at the look at the arm, the cuff. Yes. When I tell you I wanted this to be a wintry, warm sweater, I made this a wintry, warm, oversized, gigantic sweater. Okay, this is the sweater number 1. Sweater number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I had a bunch of Drops Boucle yarn. Drops Alpaca Boucle. This was the time where everybody was using Boucle yarn. And oh my god, I would always see it on my feed. And I found Wool Warehouse. I used to get my yarn, my Drops yarn from like Purple Sheep Yarns, and they were like sold out of Boucle all the time. I'm just like, bro, give it to me. And then I found Wool Warehouse, and they had so much in stock of like all the colors. I was like, oh, are you serious? So I got like so many balls, 12 balls. I don't know, I don't remember, but I know I got, oh my leg, I got so many balls of yarn. Not for the sweater specifically, but just to have it because I wanted that yarn so badly. I did not know what I was gonna knit up with it, but I was just like, you know what? Let me just have the yarn sitting there. And it sat there for a little bit, but then I saw My Favorite Things Knitwear post a picture of her sweater number 1, and it was in Boucle yarn. Like, I think it was Drops Alpaca Boucle. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna knit that up. So I decided to knit up a humongous version. I knit up the medium, but I think I double stranded this. Yeah. I double stranded it and I did the medium or the large. I forgot which one, but probably the medium. Probably the medium, and didn't do like any type of decreasing to shape it because I wanted it to be like oversized and just hanging loose, like a nice winter sweater, because hello, it's gonna get cold, so why not have a nice, and I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna make a fuzzy sweater like this with Drops Alpaca Boucle, I might as well make it big and crazy, because I'm only gonna wear it for like when I want to stay warm, you know? It's not a sweater that I'm gonna like wear out and la-dee-dee-da-la-la, especially with these sleeves. I just want it to be like an in-house sweater for when I just want to warm up. I just want to relax, you know, sit in a nice egg chair and just have my Kindle out reading as I watch the cloudy sky turn dark, and oh, just the vibes of winter, you know? So yeah, I made this nice and oversized, and it is so cute, and I had so much fun knitting it up. But I will say, okay, hold on, let me first tell you, I did the size medium, and I used 6mm needles. I used metal needles because it helped make the stitches move quicker on my needles, especially since I was using like 2 strands. And I'm not a fan of metal needles, by the way. Like, not a real fan. I don't hate them. I just love wood and bamboo and stuff and driftwood. I love my needle sets of like those better. But I have my metal needles just because. Just to have a metal set. It's just, I feel like every knitter should have at least a metal set and a wood set in their collection. But anyway, so when I first cast it on this sweater, I wanted to take it right off the needles because seeing the stitches for the first couple of rows was like almost impossible. It was actually insane how much I tried my best to see these stitches. I was like, you know what? Maybe knitting with this yarn was not a good idea. But I will say push through. After like the first couple of rows, few rows maybe, you'll start seeing your stitches. Like, I'm talking about seeing your stitches. I'm not talking about this, okay? Where you can't see the stitches. I'm talking about on the needles. On the needles, I could not see the individual stitches. Like, I could not see what I was, you know, slipping my needle into. That's what I'm talking about. That was absolutely ridiculous. But like I said, after like a few rows, I was able to see it and it was fine. It was great. And I enjoyed the rest of the sweater knitting it up. I especially enjoyed seeing, like, as I knitted it up, I'm like, seeing the fabric, I'm like, I cannot see the stitches. People will not believe that I actually knitted up this sweater. So I specifically filmed a project video on this sweater, so if I wear it out in public or something like that and I'm like, yeah, I knitted this up, and it's like, how? No, you didn't. I can be like, look, I even filmed my process, okay? So you can see that I actually did knit this up. And yeah, it was so great. This pattern is so beginner friendly as well. Like, I would definitely recommend this for any beginner. Nice raglan, top down. All of the sweaters that I do are top down, mostly. Okay. Now I can say most of the sweaters because not every sweater was like in the round top down, because one of the other sweaters I started was not in the round top down, but we'll get to that. Anyway, yeah, so I had a lot of fun knitting up this sweater. And alpaca boucle, you will probably be frustrated the first few rounds, but keep going because it's so worth it, especially seeing, like, I love seeing my stitches in my work, like seeing like, wow, this is knitted, but seeing this was like so awesome. Like, this does not look knitted at all in any kind of way. Like, this is fuzz. How do you knit with fuzz? Like, what? I think I will knit with alpaca boucle again at some point with like make a smaller size of a sweater or a top or something, just so I can experience knitting a project where I literally cannot see the stitches on the fabric, because it's just like, I'm in awe that I knitted that, you know? Anyway, enough of that. Next project that I knitted up was this beanie right here. This beanie looks so tiny. It looks like it can be for like a kid, but it stretches, so that's cool. This is hand-dyed yarn from Sorella, I'm pretty sure. Yep, this is DK weight yarn, hand-dyed yarn from Sorella. I was like, this feels like silk. Yeah, so this is merino and silk together, actually. And it feels so soft, and like I said before, I knit these up just so I can see what the yarn looks like knitted up, and it's just so good. Oh my gosh. I used 3.5mm needles and the same pattern as my other beanie, the classic ribbed hat by Pearl Soho. Boom. Simple and nice. And then after that, I did a bunch of small projects. This is when I was like really crocheting more than I was knitting big projects. So I was just knitting up small projects. And the next one, oh, okay, wait. Did I tell you when the... Okay. March 24th was the Boucle sweater. And then this beanie was March 28th. And then my next project, this one, was June. So between March and June, I was heavily crocheting because I'm like, summer, let's, you know, throw some crochet in there. So my next knit project I finished was in June, and it ended up being these socks right here. So I washed these so they shrank. But I don't care. This is what it looks like, and I wore them a lot. This is not what it looked like when I first finished them. They weren't as tight like this. What is this? They weren't as like tight and small as this. Just imagine it bigger. But it shrunk. But I don't care. I just wanted to see what it would be like in the dryer and stuff. And I dried it multiple times. So I'm not surprised. Anyway, these socks right here, these are the first socks that I knitted up that weren't the vanilla socks by Crazy Sock Lady. Kalila had some yarn left over. You're gonna notice a trend with Kalila having yarn left over, or Kalila having yarn that she just gives me, because that's how I got a lot of my projects done. Okay, she gave me yarn. So, ooh. Okay, these are the Sunday socks by Petite Knit, and Kalila did the Sunday socks, and she had some yarn, and so I was like, well, let me try to do the Sunday socks, and oh my gosh, so easy. So easy. I used Hobie Rainbow Sock yarn, so this is a DK weight yarn. I used 4.5 or 4mm needles on 9-inch circulars, of course. And yeah, they were so easy. It was just like knitting up the small socks, except on a bigger circumference. And yeah, I don't think I will knit. I want to knit up these socks again at some point, but honestly, I just want to focus on my vanilla socks right now because I have a lot of fingering weight yarn, and the DK weight yarn that I have is not like a heavy DK, it's more like a sport weight, which is like a light DK, so I don't want to not have enough yarn for Sunday socks and stuff. So I just want to finish. I just want to focus on my fingering weight socks. But this was fun to knit up, and this was June 9th. Okay, and then after that, oh, also let me know if you guys have knitted up any of these projects that I talk about, because I would love to know and I would love to see. So June 17th, I finished my next pair of vanilla socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. And let me tell you guys, okay, I used to wear these socks. I decided to see what it would be like to dry them, because I don't think this had, did this have nylon in it? I think it did have nylon in it, but this yarn is alpaca yarn, so yeah. Anyway, so these vanilla socks right here, I had some leftover yarn from my anchor sweater that I knitted up, which was really cute, and I used Juniper Moon Farm Harriet Fine yarn, and it was like alpaca and nylon. And yeah, I wore these socks a lot. As you can tell, these socks are felted. I decided to see what it would be like to wash and dry these, and this is how they came out. I don't know if you guys can see this properly, but yeah, they came out felted. And usually people would, like, you know, dump these projects and stuff like that, but I want to keep them because then I get to tell the story, and it's just, this is still art to me. This is really cool because I haven't had anything felted before, and I accidentally felted it. So yeah, and plus it'll just be nice to keep, like art. So yeah, I used 2.5mm needles, 9-inch circulars, and fingering weight yarn, alpaca and nylon. So yeah, I literally just wanted to experiment. Don't call me crazy, I'm sorry. Alright, and after that, June 26th, I was like pumping out these small projects, okay? So June 26th, I finished another beanie, and this is hand-dyed yarn by Sorella. It is Lover from her Taylor Swift collection. I actually have a sweater quantity in this yarn, and I am so excited to figure out like what mohair. I think I know what mohair I'm gonna use with that, and it's making me happy right now because it's gonna be cute. Okay. But yeah, I am very excited to use that yarn. Anyway, so yeah, this is DK weight yarn in hand-dyed yarn, Lover by Sorella. Use 3.5mm needles. Classic rib hat by Pearl Soho, and it stretches, okay. But I don't plan to wear these hats. I literally just have them so I can see the yarn worked up. Literally, that's it. That's it. So this was June 26th, and yeah. So this next one, we are moving into July. Okay. This is July 13th. And it is the first tee that I ever knitted, and it was so much fun. And it is the Anchor Tee by Petite Knit. Boom! I cropped it so that it's nice and cropped, hovers like a little bit over my belly button. And I used hand-dyed yarn for this. It is, let's see, Tchaikovsky and 100% superwash merino wool, and also hand-dyed mohair to go with it. So Tchaikovsky in both the merino wool and the mohair. So boom, this, oh my gosh, this was so much fun to knit up. I used 3mm needles, and it was not that fast because it's 3mm needles, but it wasn't like a slow process either. So it was pretty good. Pretty good, I would say. I think it took me 2 weeks to finish this, and it's a small project, as you can tell, but like I said, 3mm needles. So 2 weeks for a little top, 3mm needles. I would say that's pretty good still. But yeah, Anchor Tee by Petite Knit, and this was so much fun because I knitted up the Anchor sweater already, so I already knew what the process was gonna be like. It was just gonna be like the sweater except without like a full body and like full length sleeves. And this was the first project. Yeah, this was the first like big project that wasn't, nope, nothing else. This is the first big project where I used hand-dyed yarn. I used hand-dyed yarn on socks and beanies, but I never used it on like a sweater or a top before. So this was so much fun. Finally diving into my hand-dyed yarn stash, which I would say it's a pretty large hand-dyed yarn stash. First time I reached into my stash, pulled out some yarn, and worked up a big project. It was so much fun, and it made me so excited to use the rest of my hand-dyed yarn stash in sweater quantities on a sweater. I still have so much hand-dyed yarn to go through, and I'm so excited to knit up those projects. Anyway, so yeah, this was such a fun knit. I blocked it and it became so drapey. It was so good. Oh my gosh, so good. But yeah, this was July 13th when I finished it. Or, you know, these are just the days that I posted it, but I finished it, you know, like a couple days before the day I posted it on my Instagram. So yeah. All right, guys, we are getting down to the last few projects for the year. Oh my gosh. Let's do another stretch. All right, so the next project I finished was a big one, and it is, or was the Terrazzo Sweater by Petite Knit. Oh, look at this craziness. I love it. Look at this collar. Oh, this was like the most fun I had with a project because of the yarn choice. Oh my gosh. So this is Noro Anka, pretty sure. Yeah, so July 28th is when I finished it, around the time I finished it. And this is Noro Anka, and this yarn, just Noro yarn in general, is just made up of so many fibers. Like, it's actually crazy how they put all these fibers together and create something great. Like, I'm in awe every time I use Noro or I see Noro, and honestly, I have more Noro in my stash and I want more. So yeah, I'm probably going to get more on this trip. But yeah, so Anka by Noro. I use 5mm needles, and this is a Terrazzo Sweater by Petite Knit. She used Noro too, but a different type of Noro yarn that I haven't used before, that I actually want and need in my stash, honestly. But yeah, so this is the yarn, and you can see it's different colors. This color right here, and then this, you know, the green yellow one right here. I just wanted something funky. Like, I am always up for something funky and different and cool, and I was just like, you know what, I feel like this is me. So I decided to knit it up, and you know, it's an acquired taste, I would say, and I really like it. And what else about this? Oh, they're both Anka. They're both, like, even though the colors are different, they're both Anka. This was the first time that I did twisted rib and half twisted rib. So I did half twisted rib on the cuff and then twisted rib on the neckline, the collar, and it was easy. Oh my gosh, when I saw twisted rib, I was like, whenever I see something I haven't done before, I'm just like, it's not going to be challenging. But it wasn't at all. It was so easy. It was just, it took a long time. I was just like, oh my gosh, can we get through it, please? But then I finished it and I was like, okay, this is great. We're good. We're good. This is fine. I can do it again. Okay. But now that I know what I'm getting into, I can finish it and do it again, you know? So yeah, this sweater took me 2 weeks to finish, and it was fun. It was great. I will definitely do it again at some point. I will honestly knit up all of these patterns again at some point, but I have so many patterns to get through that I just don't have time to, like, do a duplicate of it just yet. Alrighty, the next sweater that I finished, it was August 13th, so we're getting into projects from this month, which means this video is, you know, coming to an end, which is crazy. It's actually crazy going through all of the projects that I knitted. Like, I thought this video would be like super long, but it's just, you know, regular long. Cause yeah, I've already had to like restart my camera twice, and yeah. Anyway, my favorite sweater so far that I knitted up, it is that It's Not a, oh my god, this is so drapey. I just wanna, oh my gosh. Sorry. It's Not a Sweatshirt by Knitting for Olive. Look, just look at this drape. You see this? Do you see this? Come on. This is absolutely beautiful. I used Biche Bouche lamb's wool and cashmere yarn with a strand of Knitting for Olive mohair, both orange yarns, and this is the first project, the first project that I ever did with German short rows, and it was so easy. So easy. I thought German short rows was like really hard and like challenging because I've never done it before, and whenever like knitters would talk about it, I'm like, dang, you're putting German short rows in your project, like why do you have to do that? Like, I don't know how to do it and it's gonna be so hard, like why? But then I was finally like, okay, it's time to learn it, okay, because the next few projects that I want to do, you know, they all have German short rows in it, so I'm like, okay, it is time to learn. And Kalila, More Copy Callie, she did It's Not a Sweatshirt. She knitted up It's Not a Sweatshirt, and she was like, okay, this is definitely a great pattern to like knit up if you haven't knitted up German short rows before. And I totally agree. They explain everything beautifully. It's such a simple, nice pattern. So if you haven't done German short rows before, I would suggest knitting up It's Not a Sweatshirt by Knitting for Olive. So easy. And after I blocked this, oh my gosh, the drape, like I'm picking it up and it's just so soft. And I love it. I knitted up the medium and it fits like nice and oversized on me. And it is currently my favorite sweater that I have knitted so far because of the yarn that I use, how drapey it is. It feels so good against my skin, and I successfully did German short rows. I used 4.5 millimeter needles on it, and I knitted that up in 2 weeks. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting faster with knitting because that's basically like a sport weight sweater that I've knitted up in 2 weeks, and it's like oversized for me, so that's pretty good. All right, and now we have 3 more projects left to talk about. 1 is a big project and 2 are just small projects that we'll get through like that. So this one I finished August 20th, and this one took me 6 days to knit up, and it is the Novice slipover, and it is the first slipover that I've ever knitted. And this is what it looks like. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I love this slipover so much. I used Noro yarn that Kalila had left over, and I forgot what she used for it, but she had some left over, a bunch, and she let me have it, and I finally used it. And look at this colorway. Like I said, Noro has like the most insane like composition for their yarns, and oh my gosh, this is just beautiful. Like, look at that. First of all, I love how this is sitting up like that, you know, and this doesn't even have German short rows. This made me love knitting flat. Like, oh, I forgot to talk about the Terrazzo sweater. Okay, the Terrazzo sweater, let's back up real quick. That one is knitted flat for like a while, and then you join it in a round. So like I said with the other, like the, what's that, seamless mock neck sweater, with the Terrazzo sweater, if you don't like knitting flat, I would suggest knitting that because you knit flat first and then you knit in the round for the rest of it. And same with the slipover, you knit flat for the longest and then you knit in the round. So I would suggest doing like the Terrazzo sweater, seamless mock neck sweater, Novice slipover, honestly anything where you have to like knit flat at some point before joining it around. I would suggest doing projects like that because then it will help you get more comfortable and like knitting flat a little bit, because you know at some point you're gonna knit in a round, so you might as well get through that so you can knit in a round, and then it's just really helped me enjoy that process. So yeah, this Noro yarn, this is Noro Akari, and this yarn is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, and I still have like 1 cake left that I just don't even know what I'm gonna do with yet, so I'm just gonna have it there and then just figure that out later, you know. But this was so much fun to knit up, and oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, so pretty to wear. And yeah, I used 5 millimeter needles with that, and yeah, finished it in 6 days. And then right after that, 6 days ago, I had some yarn left over, like just a little cake, and I decided to knit up the Sophie scarf by Petite Knit. So this and this together, come on, oh my gosh. And I use this as a like headscarf. My battery's dying, oh my gosh. Okay, I'm almost done. I use this as a like headscarf, and it's so pretty. Okay. And then the last project that I knitted this year so far, that I finished 4 days ago, it is another Sophie scarf. And I used hand-dyed yarn by Sorella. It's a DK weight yarn, and it's hand-dyed. And it's another Sophie scarf. And yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys think about all of these projects. Let me know if you guys ever knitted up any of these projects and where you posted it, because I would love to see it. Or if you don't have like social media and you didn't post it anywhere, I have a Discord server where it's like a yarn club, so you can just post the pictures in there and I would love to see it. But other than that, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you worked on, if you worked on anything while watching this video. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and click that notification bell because it will notify you whenever I post another video. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram because that's where I update you guys on anything with yarn and projects and traveling. And I'll see you guys in my next one.